Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Underdog episode. Today we got Season 3, Episode 5, One End Meets Another. This one takes place late November of 2025, so let's just get right into it. The wind is blowing in a snowy landscape with jagged mountains. A sleek white complex of buildings sit there shut with an airtight door. Odd-looking footsteps are imprinted in the snow away from the complex. Eventually, they lead up to the door, and there stands Lotus. They raise their arms and sneak their fingers into the crease of the airtight door. Their fingers lock on, and they start to force it open. They finish sliding the door over and step into the complex, which has a sleek white interior with black lines printed on the floor, creating a path. Lotus begins to walk through the corridor, looking down other hallways that branch off the main corridor, seeing other empty rooms with devices and trinkets only an experienced expert could know how to use. They reach the end of the hallway and look up and down at the wall, seeming confused. Lotus feels around the wall and finds a spot that intrigues him. They pull back and pull their arm back and launch a punch through the wall, shattering it like a crumbling cookie. On the other side, two men and a woman are standing in. Before they can even react, Lotus extends her tentacle arms on their back, grabbing all three by the neck and making them pass out, dropping them limp on the floor. After this, they step over their bodies and approach the console in front of the room and begin to type rapidly on the console. After pressing the enter key, they pop the top of one of their fingers, revealing a USB stick. They insert their finger into the port and begin to start downloading data into their body. While concentrating on this, a barrage of bullets clink off the back of his head. They peek over their shoulder and notice a man wearing a security officer costume reloading his weapon clumsily. Shooting will do no good. The guard completes a reload and points the barrel at their head again, stepping closer. What are you? Humanoid bionic android. I can process data at 100x the speed of the fastest processing computer on Earth. The guard just stands there confused. You're under arrest, Mr. Lotus diverts his attention back to the screen before quickly piercing his chest with one of his tentacles. It retracts back into his back while the guard's body collapses on the floor. The camera zooms out, showing Lotus and the bodies as the music begins to play. The title card plays. It cuts to Jake standing in the forest, flabbergasted by the crystal's interruption of Dylan. He looks around frantically, trying to see where he could possibly be viewing him from.
Where are you? And how did you get into our channel?
Listen, you ran away from me, and I'm not just gonna let you.
Where are you?
Even if you knew I was, what would you do? You're weak, Jake. The training Dylan's been giving you, pointless. Jake bites his lip, remembering that he knows the whole team.
I would kick your ass.
I would send fragments down your throat before you could even move. So please turn around and return so that will not happen. Jake's breathing is heavier now, and he stands there wondering what to do. It cuts to Dylan at the warehouse, surrounded by the team, with Alan standing alone in the back. Jake? Why'd he stop talking? Zara gets scared and walks up to Dylan. Damn it, Jake, talk to me! Dylan turns to the team, waiting for a response. He shakes his head and goes to the computer. He clicks onto the vitals and sees Jake seems to be okay, besides his heartbeat over normal BPM. Atlas, can you do this? Yeah, I'll be back. No! I'll do it. Dylan sighs and looks at the ground before looking at Alan. You sure? I want to help. Why? Damn it, can you guys just shut up and let the man help Jake? Dylan turns to Zara and then to the computer. Alright, you know the location. Go get him. Alan nods before zooming off for Jake. I could have done it. Don't be so stubborn. It cuts back to Jake, who is still talking to the crystal before Alan slides in. Come on, let's go. Alan grabs Jake's shoulders and speeds it back with him. He stops in the warehouse, letting go of Jake, dusting off his shoulders, and Jake regathers himself.
Thanks, Atlas.
He then turns from Alan to the rest of the group before seeing Atlas. Jake's face immediately gets confused, tilting his head and furrowing his eyebrows. He stutters while pointing back and forth at Alan and Atlas. Dylan points at Alan. That's Alan. Jake turns to Alan and takes a cautious step backwards.
Why is he still here?
Jake whispers. I can hear you, you know. Jake slowly turns around before shushing him with his finger to his mouth. Alan gets taken back by a childish act. Jake turns back to the team. He puts his hands up, shaking his head, renouncing his question. He wanted to come.
And you just let him?
What does it look like I let him? He says in a sarcastic tone. Jake rolls his eyes before turning to Alan.
Well, thank you, Alan.
I guess. Jake starts to walk away. Whoa, hey, what even happened to you? Jake freezes in his tracks and spins around.
He intercepted my comms, and he also knows all of our names, except probably yours.
Jake says, looking at Alan. Alan raises his eyebrows in a playfully shocked way with his hands in his pockets. So who is this guy? How does he know us? Alice stands there looking very guilty, staring at the ground. When you two fought, what exactly happened? Alice takes a deep breath before glancing up at Dylan. Well, it cuts to showing them standing in different positions, inferring that they have been listening for a few minutes. They stand there in shock. Damn, you were following one lead for 3 months. Not my proudest moment. They all stand there silent before Atlas seems to remember something. Oh, I gotta go. Doctors. He tilts his head. Alice side-eyes Alan before beginning to walk out. The team ease up and return to what they were doing before. It cuts to the stars in the sky shining bright. Then to Dylan lying on the ledge of the roof on the building. I think it's the building that he sat on in mixtape. I think that's the building I'm talking about. His right arm draped over his head. He's just relaxing up there, taking deep breath after deep breath before a zip and a blue glow appears, but making him scream and fall off the side of the building. Alice stands there with his hands on his hip waiting. Dylan, outlined into pink, slowly floats back up. Asshole. Alice chuckles, tilting his head down before looking up at Dylan, who is landing back on the ledge, as soft as a pillow. Dylan steps down before dapping up Alice and into a hug. Dylan turns back to the cityscape with Alice stepping beside him. How was it? The doctors. I ain't got much time. Dylan sighs and avoids eye contact with Alice, looking at the city. How much? Not much. I was talking to Alan. That name makes Alice get a cold face, scrunching his eyebrows. There's something that may work. You're telling me he's been hiding this, but then he wants to feel bad? He said it's only been the past few months they've been working. Where? It cuts to the two in suit walking in the snow with their bare breasts visible in the cold atmosphere. As the camera goes up from their feet to what they've been walking to is revealed to be the lab that Lotus invaded earlier today. Seeing this, Alice runs to the door and goes inside. Hold up! Alice ignores Dylan and begins wandering the halls, making Dylan jog to catch up with him. What the hell happened here? Alice runs his finger along the jagged wall where Lotus broke a piece out of. Dylan nudges past him into the room with the computer. He sees the dead bodies of the scientists and the guard on the floor. Dylan looks at all the buttons before finding the power button, turning on the computer with Alice floating behind him, overlooking onto the computer. Whatever happened here, it wasn't an accident. The computer turns on, and the desktop is completely clear. It cuts back to the warehouse. Jake, Zara, and surprisingly Miranda are sitting at the table across from each other playing cards. Meanwhile, Alan is watching something on one of the laptops, rewinding it over and over again, analyzing a specific part of whatever he's watching.
What are you doing over there?
Did the crystal say anything about who he was?
No, not really. Why?
It goes to an angle behind Alan, showing him in the laptop screen. He's watching a video of a small camera placed on Jake's shirt, with footage from when he was captured. He's replaying when the crystal was interrogating him.
He's obviously a part of whatever Lotus was talking about at the castle.
What?
Oh, right. How are we supposed to tell the difference between you and Atlas?
Alan's eyes widen a bit, and he gets up from the stool. He walks off to the side, and the three at the table look at each other, shrugging. After a few minutes, he comes back, and he has a buzz cut, but there's a little flame on the back of his head. Miranda pats the back of her head. You got a little something. Alan tilts his head down and pats back, missing the flame. Did I miss a spot? Alan keeps patting the back of his head, but the flame is still there. Just a little right. Alan pats a little to the right. Okay, now down. Alan pats down more and finally gets the fire, extinguishing it. Now you can distinguish us. Jake rolls his eyes and they go back to playing cards. It cuts to Alice and Dylan in a dimly lit room sitting on some chairs by a table connected to the wall. On the wall there are a bunch of monitors. They're trying to hack into the call surveillance cameras. Got it. Go back and see what happened. Alice begins rewinding the tape. While going back, he notices a change in the infrastructure. He squints and fast forwards. After a couple more changes, he puts on normal speed and watches the tape. Dylan gets closer, and so does Alice. Everything seems normal with the scientists working, but then, on one of the monitors, a slither of outdoor light peers into the main hallway. They hear a metal pounding sound and start to echo throughout. And then in frame, Lotus appears, stepping through slowly. Who would have guessed? Alice slams the table and leaves the room. Dylan follows and it cuts to black. The three are still playing cards, looking tired, Behind Jake, Alan is walking towards him holding a file. He slams it down on the table. There's his name, and even where he is right now. Jake's eye fluttered fully open, and he reaches for the file. Alan walks away. We rolled out at 2. Jake starts to read the file.
AM?
Drink some coffee. Alan shuts the door as the other two slowly wake up.
We're shattering the crystal in 3 hours.
Miranda and Zara barely comprehend what he says.
Alan is definitely something.
It cuts to a clock showing 2 a.m. on the dot and pans down to Jake walking out the warehouse putting on some gloves. Behind him, Miranda and Zara follow out. Alan is outside leaning on the side of a van. Alan throws the keys to Jake. Catching them, he gets in the car and starts it. He looks at Zara in the passenger seat. She nods. Jake looks in the rearview mirror at Miranda, who gives him the thumbs up. The shot goes outside, looking in on Jake, who puts the car into drive, and the screen cuts to black. It cuts to the tires spinning before coming to a screeching halt. The doors open and everyone get out with Alan waiting outside, clearly have beaten them there. They look at the abandoned video store that has vines running all over it. The 4 walk up to the door and enter the store cautiously, looking around, seeing if the crystal is anywhere. Miranda enters, closing the door behind her, being the last one in. But this was a mistake, as huge metal covers fall on the door and window, blocking the entrance, and a radiating sound blast through the room, making Alan fall to the ground in pain and make Zara and Jake sorely harmed. Congrats, idiots! A+ for falling right into my trap. They all look at each other in panic, and the screen cuts to black, and the credits play. The end.